Welcome to Bits and Pieces Quilting. Today I want to show you how to make these really cute face wipes or makeup wipes. They make great gifts, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today we're going to go through step by step how to make these really cute face wipes or makeup wipes. I've used a single bath towel that I bought at a discount department store, some fabric from my stash, and a little bit of ribbon to tie them up perfect. Let's dive right in. Today's project is a remake for me. I have made these towel-based makeup or face wipes before, and I really like them. I really like them for myself, and I really like them as gifts for friends and hostesses and families. If you're just heading over to a friend's house for dinner, it might be a nice little thing to take as a thank you for the invitation. So I'm going to make some more. I have seen these from other creators on YouTube, so this isn't an original idea, but I want to show you how I make them. I have seen them done as circles, so tracing around a glass or a cup to get nice circle makeup wipes, because I think a lot of the time we're used to that shape. But for mine, I'm just going to make them square. I don't want to go to the trouble or the time of using a circle. And a square, I think, is a little bit more efficient in terms of waste and also my time. So to start, I bought this towel at a local discount department store. I wanted to make sure it was 100% cotton, and I wanted it to be white just because that's my own preference. But if you have other colors that you want to make, I think that would be tons of fun as well. But I like the clean crispness of the white towel. So this one's 100% cotton, and it is as large as I could find at the shop. And this one's enormous. It's 1.6 meters long and 82 centimeters wide. So I'm going to get a ton of makeup wipes out of this one little towel. And it was not terribly expensive. I think it was $19. So not that cost is necessarily the issue, but if you want to make a whole volume of gifts at a pretty economical price, this might be a good way to start. I'll cut this up. I'm going to use 4-inch pieces, strips cut into squares, with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, or slightly smaller than 1/2 inch but larger than a 1/4 inch. That'll give me a 3 to 3.5 inch square at the end. I've already cut a few fabrics. I just went through my collection and found things that I thought were really cute that might make really nice backings for makeup wipes, and these are some of the ones that I came up with. I particularly love the suns. I think these ones are a little bit elegant and sophisticated, and these are a little bit fun. So I'm going to cut up the towel. This might make an enormous mess, so I'll be really interested to see what that looks like. I have my large ruler here, and I'm going to take a slice. I have it laid out fairly straight. This is not as easy to work with as fabric in terms of making sure everything is lined up and straight, but just do the best that you can. You also may need to put a little pressure behind your rotary cutter. I've used 2 layers here, and that little pressure worked, but you can see this is going to fray like crazy. So you want to make sure maybe to have your vacuum cleaner ready for when you're finished this project. Or you might just want to find time when you can do the whole thing at once so that you're not making a giant mess and then having to come back and clean it up and then make another mess again. You can see here, this is getting a little bit challenging, but just persist. This is one of those things where close enough is probably good enough. So I was also cutting through the tag, which was a bit of a challenge, but we made it. I will cross cut these into 4, whoops, just lost everything there. Cross cut these into 4-inch. I'm just going to use a smaller ruler because I feel like I can get better leverage that way. And if this proves to continue to be a little bit more challenging, I may just take them individually and cut them up instead of trying to do them 2 at a time. Do whatever you're comfortable with. It may also depend on the sharpness of your blade. And so with these 4-inch squares, I will match them up with some of my fabric. Let's start with these ones. Right sides together. I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and start and stop not too far from the corners to leave a nice opening for myself to turn these right side out again. I always leave the opening too small, so I'm going to try this time and make sure I leave big enough opening so that it's not a problem to turn them right side out again. So all the way around the edges, back stitching at the start and the stop. I'll cut off the corners, turn them right side out, and it's as easy as that. I'll come back after I do this stitching and show you what I mean. So I've sewn all the way around the edge. This is a generous 1/4 inch. I wouldn't call it a 1/2 inch, but it's probably not a precise 1/4 inch either. Do the best you can. This isn't about perfection, but make sure that you catch both the towel and the fabric in your seam allowance. I started and stopped at the beginning on one side and tried to leave as large an opening as I could. I'm going to cut the corners off so that it makes it easier to get nice sharp points when I turn it right side out. And I'm just going to use my scissors for that. Just cut those off. This was tough to keep lined up. This isn't bad, but I don't know if you can see how things just aren't quite perfect along some of the edges. I'm not worried about this at all. I think it's going to turn out just fine. And so with the corners cut off, I'll just put my hands inside and turn this right side out, being careful, even though I backstitched, being careful not to pull on the edges of that opening. Pop the corners out. This may be an opportunity to use your favorite turning tool. For me, that's my bone folder, and I have that in my little caddy right next to my sewing machine. So this is my bone folder, and it's a nice blunt end to get in here and push those corners out. There we go. On all 4 corners. You can probably also do this just with your fingers, or a chopstick works really well. I'd be really careful if you're using the tip of your scissors, but a ballpoint pen or something with the cap still on, that may work. It just depends on what you've got. And once you have that, I will take this over to the iron and give this a nice press, and then take it back to the sewing machine and do a nice top stitch all the way around the edge, both to catch this so that it's sealed up, and also just to give it a nice finished edge. So let me press it, do that sewing, and show you the final product. I thought I would add in this little video of doing the top stitching around the face wipes. I just start in the middle of one side, pivot with the needle down as I go around each corner, making sure to catch the opening underneath the thread, and I'm just using the width of my presser foot as the guide for the distance. So quickly spin around each corner and then back stitch over the starting point just to make sure those seams are all locked in nice and tight. And here we have the final product. I took this over to the iron, pressed it nice and flat, made sure the open edge was folded nicely and pressed it. Then I took it to the sewing machine and I did this top stitch right close to the edge all the way around, making sure to catch that opening, starting and stopping at the beginning and the end. Sorry, back stitching at the beginning and the end to tack those stitches down. I found because of the bulk around the corner, I had to take my stitching pretty close to the corner in order to turn the corner and then still have a fairly even seam all the way around. You can see that my last seam here wasn't maybe quite as perfect, but for the purpose of this sort of a project, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to pull it out. I'm not going to redo it. It's a lesson learned for the next one to try and be a little bit more cautious to keep that as a nice straight line. But I think the final result is really cute. I'll probably make these into stacks of 10 as a gift. I think that's a nice number. If someone uses one every day, that's 7 in a week. Maybe you don't do laundry every week, so a couple of extra into the next week, or gives you an opportunity to wash a few while still using a few. So a nice, quick, easy gift that has a little bit of a sustainability element to it. I will probably make my packets all the same, but it's a great stash buster if you have a bunch of just random fabrics. I think that would look really cute as a bundle of just really cute fabrics all together. If you've got leftovers from a charm pack, make them 5 inches. Once you sew them, they'll come down to about 4.5 inches. I still think that's a great size. And it's a great way to use up those leftover pieces from a charm pack if you don't have any other project ideas for them. As predicted, this project created a huge mess. There are little pieces of towel fluff absolutely everywhere, all over my work table, all over the ironing board, all over the floor. You can see where I was turning them inside out while sitting at my sewing machine, all across this machine table. It's absolutely everywhere. So I did make every single one of them all at once and then did a big cleanup. And you can see the fluff in the sewing machine is out of control. So if you do make this, I really recommend you take some time at the very end and clean out your machine, give it a good wipe down. You might want to get all that fluff off the floor in your sewing space as well. It took me a little while to do the cleanup, but the result I think was worth it. I've got 11 bundles of face wipes. I've put 10 in each bundle. I ended up using the leftover fabrics from 2 of the pieces that I cut, and I'm just going to keep these ones for myself. So this bundle doesn't completely match, but I'm okay with that. All the other bundles match, and I've tied them up in these cute little ribbons. These are actually old pieces of hem tape or seam tape. And I've had them for a little while now. I think a friend's mom was cleaning out her sewing room, and she had this hem tape that she didn't want anymore, so she gave it to me. I actually finished one of the rolls, and it's this crazy. You can see how old it is. Made in Canada, Burlington Industries, really old stuff, but it's turned out to be beautiful ribbon for gifts like this. So I'm just going to tie up this last bundle and call this project complete. These make really lovely gifts if a friend invites you over for dinner, or if you just want to say thank you or brighten someone's day. There we are. So out of the one bath towel, I now have 10 little bundles, 10 little gifts, and one set of new face wipes for myself. Thank you for watching this video on the face wipes. I hope that you give them a try and really learn from my lesson. If you're going to make them all at once, and then clean your sewing room and clean your machine, because they really do make a giant mess. But have fun with it. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to make the most of your fabric bits and pieces.